What's going on, YouTube? Today I bring you my Pro Bowl picks for the 2023 NFL Pro Bowl. Do these every year. I've done them the last couple years, so if you want to go check those out, there is a playlist for that, and we're going to be adding to that playlist today with these Pro Bowl picks. We're just going to be selecting here on the website. So starting off with the quarterback group. Now, how I'm going to be doing this is 3 AFC, 3 NFC. So there are plenty of guys who do deserve a vote, but obviously it's a very talented league, and I'm only doing 3 per conference. So for the AFC quarterbacks, Mahomes and Burrow are really like the easy ones for me. Though they've been spectacular, Burrow has really had an argument to be best quarterback these last few weeks, and Mahomes is just Mahomes. He almost always deserves a vote. Where you get into the last one is a little weird because Josh Allen's been very good this year, but he's also had some really bad games. Herbert, he's been good, especially considering the cast around him, but he's not been great. And I don't think he's been better than one specific guy who's down here. And honestly, because he's so down here, I don't know if he's going to get the votes to go, which is sucks because he really does deserve it. That's Tua, because he's been really, really good this year. And the only reason he's really down here in these stats is because, he missed some time. He has more touchdowns than almost all of these guys. I mean, 21. So, you look, I think here at least there's only 5 guys with more touchdowns than him. I mean, to me, he's the third guy here. He's been great. And then as for the NFC, I think Geno still deserves a spot. He's kind of cooled down recently, but he's still been very good this year. Hurts as well, really gotten it going. I think Shane Steichen's have been a huge part of that, obviously. Ben Johnson, Nick Sirianni, he's got a great staff around him, great team, but he himself has been pretty mistake-free. He's been very good. And then this last spot, I mean, Goff has been solid this year, I'd say. I don't think Brady deserves a vote. He's been safe, but that's kind of it. That's the reason he's been a safe player. He's getting the ball out quickly. That's his game. To me, I just think Kirk has been better this year. Not even statistically per se, he has more picks, but in general, I think Kirk, obviously he has better talent to work with, but he's taking advantage of it. He's playing very good football. He always has, and I think he's always been a very underrated quarterback. So for me, these are the 6 quarterbacks this year. Moving on to running back. Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, Nick Chubb. These guys are just the obvious ones, right? And you already fill out your AFC roster right there, because these guys have just been really good this year. For the NFC, Saquon, again, he's had a resurgence this year. Cooled down a little bit these past weeks, but he's been fantastic. Top running back in the NFC right now to me. Christian McCaffrey also been fantastic this year. He also deserves a spot. And this is where you get into, like, who's that third NFC guy? I mean, just looking at the list here, like, it's really going to be someone up here. Dalvin Cook has been very good. Tony Pollard's been great. Aaron Jones has been good. But honestly, I think at the end of the day, when you look at these top 3 guys, Pollard's the only one without fumbles. He's got the most touchdowns. He is the 2 in that backfield for Dallas, whose line has been hurt this season. I mean, he's on a good offense, but Tony Pollard's been great this year. I'm going to vote him in as my final running back. As for wide receiver, again, there are some obvious guys here at the top. Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, all have to be in, and that already takes up your AFC. So for the NFC, CeeDee Lamb has been very good, especially recently. But really, I think it's these 4 guys that are kind of in contention for those last 2 spots. To me, McLaurin, maybe doesn't necessarily have the touchdowns to show it, but McLaurin has been very good this year despite playing with Carson Wentz and Taylor Heineke. And then I think it really goes down to A.J. Brown and Amon-Ra, and I think Amon-Ra would have this spot locked up if he hadn't missed time this year. But just considering how good A.J. Brown has been, the touchdowns, the yards per attempt, I mean, Amon-Ra's pushing definitely here. I'd love to give him a vote, but I think I do have to give it to A.J. Brown at the end of the day. Moving on to the fullback position, this is a bit, of a simpler one. You just kind of go with the top guys here. Juszczyk is always in there. Ingold's been good. Picard's always great. Gilliam's always good. He's been pretty good this year as well. So that kind of rounds out your AFC. As for the NFC, CJ Ham going to be in there. And then you kind of go a little bit here, and the only other options really Blasingame, Prentice, and Keith Smith, and Keith Smith has been the best out of these guys. So he gets in over guys like Watt and Burton because, well, he's the NFC. Moving on to the tight ends. Travis Kelce, automatically in, right? Obviously. Same with Andrews, same with Hawkinson. Fryermuth, I think, as well. I think he's played very well this year. Um, but oh man, that's tough. Because Njoku's also been very good. He's missed time, but he has really similar stats, like Fryermuth, he's had about the production you'd expect based off the fact I'm pretty sure he's played full season. Man, Fryermuth or Njoku. I mean, both have been playing with not very good quarterbacks. But ultimately, I think Brissett's actually been pretty good this year. The Browns' offense is better than the Steelers. I'm going to give this to Fryermuth here as the final AFC. And then as for the NFC, George Kittle still going to earn himself in. He's been very good when he's been on the field this year. And then for that last NFC spot, I'm going to give it to Cole Kmet. He's been off and on, but when he's on, he really does turn into a dominant tight end for the Bears. And, with some receiving help around him, this guy could be a legitimate threat going forward in the future. As for the tackle position, now this is where we're going to get in some weird picks because the line, I know I'm going to make some unpopular picks. However, I am going off of, some of the higher graded guys this year who's really played well. It's weird how they kind of format this because, I'm sure Bernhard Raymond's going to get a ton of votes because he's the first guy that pops up here. But Bernhard Raymond is pretty bad. So it's kind of stuff like that that makes this difficult to get the guys who really deserve it. For me, Laramie Tunsil, starting off with the AFC, Laramie Tunsil is going to be my first pick here. He's been very good for the Texans this year and not had a lot of help next to him, but he's been very good. Teron Armstead, he's been very good as well for the Dolphins. He's been a huge upgrade to that offensive line, and in general, he's helped out that offense so much. And my third pick for the AFC here, going to be a little unorthodox. There's a lot of great players here to go with for sure, but I'm going to go with Jamari Sawyer, who has actually been very, very good for the Chargers here. He has slotted in for Rashawn Slater, and he just didn't look back. He's been shut down for the Chargers. I don't know specific numbers, but I don't know if he might not have given up a sack this year. He's just been very, very good. So an excellent pick from the Chargers, but he's been fantastic as a rookie here for them. And then as for the NFC, Trent Williams, always going to be an automatic in pretty much, but, once again, just dominating this year for the 49ers. If I can find him, he's somewhere here. He's somewhere here. We'll find him. There's the other Niners tackle. I might just be missing him. You guys are going to be yelling at me. He's right there. I am blind, though. I know he's on here. He has to be on here, right? Yeah, right there. So automatic in pretty much for Trent, and then Andrew Thomas. He's also been very good this year for the Giants. He really had one bad game, and it was against Micah Parsons, and he was sick at that. He's just really turned into a true lockdown tackle for the Giants here. And then my last pick gonna be Christian Darrisaw, out of the Vikings. He's really developed here in year 2. He's just very good. He's been very good for the Vikings. Really, his only bad game coming against Micah Parsons as well. And I'm not going to discredit you that much for having a bad game against Micah Parsons. Besides that, he's been shut down all season. I actually think Micah Parsons is the only player he let up sacks against. So Darrisaw, to me, deserves this. There's always a ton of great players here. It's just not every guy can make it. Moving on to the guard position for the AFC, we'll get to Mike Onwenu, but Joel Bitonio going to be my top pick. Still the best guard in football as of right now to me. And there's one guy kind of competing with it, but right now he's probably the best guard. Then Mike Onwenu kind of split it a little bit, but I also am going to go with him here. He's been pretty good for the Patriots this year. Their O-line actually hasn't really played up to expectations, but he's been the one bright spot. And then Quinn Miners for the Denver Broncos. Talk about one of the few bright spots. When he's played, He's not been healthy all season, but he's been healthy most of it, and you can tell there's a huge difference when he plays versus when he doesn't for the Broncos. He's one of the highest graded guards in football, and for good reason because when he's out, the Broncos line plays even worse than they do half the time. So definitely worth it here, in my opinion. He's been very good for Denver this year. And then the guy I would say is competing with Joel Bitonio as best guard in football right now is this guy right here, Chris Lindstrom, who, seemed like a reach back in 2019, but has truly developed into arguably the best guard in football right now. So he's been very good for them. Uh, Elton Jenkins, not Elton Jenkins, that is the wrong Jenkins. Um, Tevin Jenkins, my mistake. I have these written down. By the way, I made this list beforehand, kind of going back and forth on some picks, but thought it was Elkin for second. No, I'm actually going with Tevin Jenkins here, not Jonah Jackson. Tevin Jenkins, who, moving him into guard has definitely been the right choice here for the Bears. He's been very, very good ever since they moved him to guard. And that was kind of my pre-draft evaluation, right? Is this guy, he's really big, but he's also really slow. So I feel like a move to guard is pretty much, going to happen at some point. And luckily for the Bears, it was good, whether they were forced to or not, it was a good decision because he's been, well, a Pro Bowl level guard for them. So, and then lastly, the last guard for me here, another young guy, a lot of these great young offensive linemen, going to be Landon Dickerson, who, thankfully that, I believe he would have been a first round pick if not for his injury late in his last year at Alabama. Also, again, just been very good here for the Eagles, very impressive. Just not much more to it. Like, yeah, he plays along some great guys, but that doesn't, discredit the fact that he himself has also been very good for the Eagles this year. Moving on to the centers, and back to back years, I think the best center in football still is going to be this guy right here, Creed Humphrey, and just crazy good start to his career. And what a great pickup for the Chiefs to get him at the end of the second, because right now he's going off back to back years as the best center in football in his first 2 years. So great pickup for them. And talk about a great pickup, Ethan Pocic, might be Pocic, for the Browns. Oh, he is not eligible. Well, this is why, because I look at these lists and I say, okay, who are the best guys in football right now? And this is a situation where I guess he's not eligible due to injury, I guess. When he's played for the Browns, he's been very good this year. So we're going to have to substitute here. And for the AFC, well, my other pick for the AFC, though, is going to go to Connor Williams, who, along with Teron Armstead, was a great pickup here for the Dolphins, really improving that offensive line. So as for the third AFC center, then, since Pocic is not eligible, Linderbaum's certainly going to be in that conversation. He's been pretty good here for the Ravens rookie year. Luke Fortner's been fine. I think he's played up to about what you drafted him to be. Connor McGovern has been really good for the Jets this year. I wouldn't say Ben Jones has really played up to expectations. David Andrews has been solid. I think this is going to go to Connor McGovern. I think he's probably been the best center out of these guys at this point. Lindsley, obviously Lindsley and Kelly are better centers normally, but they've both kind of dealt with injury, and Kelly's not having a very good year. I'd say, normally during a healthier season and stuff, Lindsley would be up higher, but I don't quite think he's been as good as McGovern this year, actually, who's just been very good for the Jets here. So those are going to be my three AFC guys. As for the NFC, the easy number one, and, if not for Creed Humphrey being such a monster, it's going to be Jason Kels, who, it seems to be in his last year here with the Eagles, last year in general, maybe. But he's going out with a bang, though. He's playing very, very, at a very high level for the Eagles right now. Frank Ragnow, also very deserving, one of the best in football right now, playing up to his extension. He's been great. And then you get to this third NFC center, and it's kind of difficult because I really don't feel a lot of these guys have been very good. I guess because I know who I have written down here, and I'm just kind of seeing like, is there anyone I would go with over him? But to be honest, no. So this final NFC center is actually going to go to Tyler Badias, I think is how you say it. Who it's not like he's been bad, but it's just like this is not normally the type of guy to be making a Pro Bowl. But NFC center is kind of weak right now. The one guy that's obviously missing, and it's because of injury, is Chase Roulier. I think is how you say it, out of for the Washington. But he's been hurt this year, so yeah, not your normal guy. But Tyler Badia is going to get a Pro Bowl vote for me this year. Moving on to the defense. And, the positional terminology here is awful, so I'll try to do my best with these picks. But um, for the AFC side of things, Myles Garrett, been a monster. If he had any type of pass rushing help on that defense, he would have an even crazier season than what he's currently having right now. So for me, he's definitely in here. Max Crosby, just had another great night with the Rams. I mean, he was being held basically every play, and he still got back there, still had some very game disrupting plays, and I had a few plays taken away from him, honestly, almost robbed. He's just, again, developed into a very good player. And then this final AFC pass rusher is actually going to go to Jerry Hughes, who's had a very good season for the Texans this year. Again, one of those guys where he's just been a lonely bright star for a team that otherwise has not been very good. So he's played a very good season here for the Texans. And then for the NFC side of things, Nick Bosa might be Defensive Player of the Year right now. I mean, Micah Parsons is right there with him, but Nick Bosa is certainly making a case for himself. Brian Burns playing at a very high level, probably the best we've seen of him to this point. And then this last pick, kind of up for grabs here. I'm gonna go with. I mean, there's a lot of good guys here. Sacks isn't always the best thing to go off of. Like Larry Ogunjobi has been good. I mean, he's not NFC, so it doesn't matter. But he's been good, right? Better than being all the way down here just because of his sack numbers. Same with Christian Wilkins, but again, he's not NFC. For the NFC specific guys, I mean, Poona Ford has been very good. He's definitely potentially worth a vote depending on the rest of the guys here. Brandon Graham's been very good this year as well. DeMarcus Lawrence has been good in certain games. I wouldn't say he's been consistently good enough. Yeah, it's kind of up for grabs here. I feel it's really Poona Ford or Brandon Graham here. And, a 2.5 sack difference. Graham has another forced fumble. Ford has more tackles. I think you could just kind of consider the defenses, right? Both a 4-3. I would say Graham has a lot more help than Ford does. So I'm going to go with Poona Ford here. I think he's been very good for the Seahawks defense this year. I think he's worth the vote. Moving on to defensive tackle here. Some obvious picks right off the gate. Chris Jones, dominant, best defensive tackle in football. Quinnen Williams pushing for the title. He's very good. Javon Hargrave, Jeffrey Simmons, and then Dexter Lawrence. These are all like the really obvious guys because they're just the best defensive tackles in football right now. There's some other very talented guys, obviously, but these are the best. And we have our AFC guys leaving room for one NFC. And it's weird he's down here, but he still absolutely deserves a vote. I think I skipped him. Yeah, Aaron Donald. I mean, like, it's Aaron Donald at the end of the day, right? It's not like he's having a bad season by any means, but for his, at least normal, it is a down season, and mostly that's just because he's being triple teamed basically every play. So, to me, still absolutely worth a Pro Bowl vote, still one of the best in football. So for me, these are the top 6 guys. I don't know if Donald's quite what he used to be this season, but still very good, worth the vote. Moving on to dumb terminology with the linebackers here. It doesn't mess up my voting too much, but there is one pick that kind of, irks you a little bit. For inside linebacker, these are going to be kind of some of the weirder picks because tackles is not a great way to judge these guys and how they've played. Tremaine Edmonds is going to be my top guy for the AFC here. He's played a very, very good season for the Bills here. The Bills linebacking unit's actually just been I'd say probably the best in football right now. Tremaine Edmonds has been very good. He's not the top linebacker though to me. We'll get hit him in a little bit. Zaire Franklin is going to be another one of my selections here, assuming he's eligible. I'm pretty sure he should be. He might have a lot of tackles this year. Um, there he is. Zaire Franklin had a very good season here for the Colts. He just continues to get better, and he's really served well in the absence of Leonard. And then my last inside guy. This is a name that's going to surprise a lot of you, I know, but C.J. Mosley has had something of a resurgence here with the Jets. You know, playing in a solid defense, of course, always helps. He's just basically taking the Fred Warner role at this point. But, you know, for a guy that, you know, seemed a little written off, forgotten about, he's really actually enjoyed a very good season here with the Jets. Um, you know, I think worth a vote. He's been, like I said, very good for them. And then for the NFC side of things, really, you know, still the best linebacker in football to me. It's going to be Fred Warner. He's a monster. You know, one of those rare players you see. You know, I wouldn't quite say he's Luke Kuechly or, you know, like, you know, prime Bobby Wagner level, but he's really, you know, close to those kind of guys. Jordan Brooks, he's been solid. You know, I think he's worthy of a Pro Bowl vote this year. A lot of tackles. You know, like I said, tackles isn't the best way to judge things, but he has a lot of them though, and it's for a reason. He gets himself in a good position a lot. I'd say he kind of cleans up that defense rather than like picks up the scraps. Like Blake Martinez is someone who picks up the scraps. Jordan Brooks is someone who cleans. And then this last pick here could go to a lot of guys. There's a lot of different options here. I'm going to go with Pete Werner of the Saints, who another player. He's under the radar, and a lot of people would go with Demario Davis here, mainly because of the sacks. But if we're talking about, you know, linebacker, right, inside linebacker, Pete Werner has been one of the best in football this year. Actually, he's been very good for the Saints, and you know, the defense is on and off. And I'm trying to find, here he is. The defense has been on and off, you know, but Werner, he shows up, and the Saints linebacker as a whole really does. Werner, Ellis, and Davis have all been very good this year. They're kind of challenging the Bills for best linebacker unit, but I think Werner is the premier guy right now, which again, a lot of people would disagree with just because of the name recognition of Davis, but Werner, very good this year. Now, outside linebacker, and this is kind of the one spot where it pisses me off a little bit, their positional terminology here, because for me, the top pick here is actually going to be a non-pass rusher, even though most of these guys are pass rushers, and it's actually going to be Matt Milano, because he, I would say, is probably the second best linebacker in football right now, behind Fred Warner. He's been very, very good for a Bills defense that, you know, they're playing at a high level, and he's a huge reason as to why. But the rest of these guys are going to be pass rushers, though, primarily at least. Highsmith had played a very good season. 4 forced fumbles is valuable in itself, but 10 sacks on top of that. And it's not just the numbers. He has played well, especially in the absence of TJ Watt. And this guy could become even scarier with Watt across from him. Matt Judon, you know, leading the league in sacks. Actually, no, Nick Bosa's leading the league in sacks now, but still second, I believe. He's played a very good season here for the Patriots. And then moving on to the NFC, Micah Parsons, obvious pick, right? He's probably still Defensive Player of the Year frontrunner, but Nick Bosa's right behind him. But God, Micah Parsons is so good. That's an obvious pick right there. Um, and then for these last two picks, I think Hassan Reddick deserves it. I think he's been good for the Eagles here, you know, because he provides good coverage, but also still a great pass rusher. He's really found his groove here with the Eagles. And then for the NFC, I mean, there's a lot of good picks here to potentially go with, you know, and it sucks too because there's a lot of guys getting screwed over here. Danico Autry, um, you know, Bradley Chubb has played a pretty good season. One guy in specific, I'm trying to find him. Ellis, right? Like he's not like a pass rusher like these guys. Like he honestly probably deserves a vote. I mean, I would probably take him over, you know, probably Brooks, but he's just not in that group. As for the NFC, their last guy, I mean, you really look at, I say you really look at Nwosu, you look at Hunter, and you look at Smith. Nwosu has more sacks, more forced fumbles. These guys also play right next to each other, so teams have to worry about both of them. Whereas with Nwosu, I mean, Poona Ford's really the only other good player on that defense. both, like Zadarius Smith has been, he started out really hot and then he's cooled down, and then Hunter started off really cold, but he's really heated up. Um, so I guess maybe it's more of like a splitting thing, like they're focused on this guy so he gets production. Either way, I'm gonna go with Nwosu here. I think it's just kind of the product of the fact that these guys play next to each other. And Nwosu, again, his best player rushing the passer with him is Puna Ford. Houston has actually had a really good year. Shout out to him, having even as at his age, having a very good season here. Still, one of the premier pass rushers in the league, but not quite the same level as these other three guys. So that's going to be the outside linebacking group. Cornerback. Sauce and Woolen, the rookie duo that have been just really good this year. It's not even just the picks for Woolen. I mean, that was a thing with Diggs last year. I've made my thoughts clear on that. Woolen, not even just the picks, just in general, he's been very, very good this year. He knows how to use his height for sure. And then Sauce, like I said, sensational rookie year, pretty much the defensive rookie of the year, because Woolen's obviously been great as well, but Sauce has just been on a different level. Marlon Humphrey also been incredibly good for the Ravens here. And then, though he's had a down past couple weeks, Patrick Surtain still has played at an insanely high level for the Broncos here. Again, one of the few bright spots for them, because before, these last couple weeks, not including this most previous week, he hadn't allowed much. Let's just say that. I don't know the exact numbers, but he had not allowed much. I'm trying to find him. Actually, does he have a pick this year? I'm not sure. They rank these by picks, and it's an awful way to. Yeah, see, like Sertan below like Chandler Sullivan isn't exactly very representative. But either way, Sertan definitely deserve it, even though with a couple bad weeks this year. Woolen, we already took him. A lot of great selections here in the NFC to potentially go with. I think Darius Slay still deserves it over James Bradbury. He's still the one on that team, though Bradbury's been very good. Patrick Peterson has had a very good bounce back year. Um, yeah, but ultimately, like, I know it's becoming popular to hate on him, but Jalen Ramsey is still one of the best in the business. He's still, he had a bad week one, and now there's this narrative that he's like some declining corner. He's still one of the best in football. Don't get that twisted. And then moving on to the strong safeties. Number one here for the AFC going to be Derwin James, still playing at a high level as always. When he's healthy, he's great, and he's healthy this year, so he's playing at a very high level. Von Bell has played good for the Bengals this year, worthy of a vote to me, as Jesse Bates hasn't been as crazy as normal. Von Bell's kind of taken over, in my opinion, for that, secondary safety side of things, at least. And then maybe a little bit of a weird pick to some of you, but Jalen Petrie has played at a very high level here for the Texans. The defense has played up to levels, certain levels, I'd say. They have a few specific playmakers on it, and Jalen Petrie, I'd say, has probably been the best rookie for them this year besides Dameon Pierce, who sadly didn't quite get a vote, but, just some crazy good running backs. But Jalen Petrie, like I said, been very good this year. As for the NFC, Harrison Smith having maybe one of his best years, actually. He's getting older, but, like, he's not slowing down. I don't know if he's at a career high for picks, but certainly near it. He's just been very good this year for the Vikings, so, he doesn't really seem to be going anywhere. Um, then going to be not Cameron Curl, but actually his teammate, Derek Forrest, who I think has actually outshined Cameron Curl, though Curl's been very good this year as well. I just think Forrest, another one of those rookies where he's just played really good out of the gate. And you hope he can continue it, but he's been good here for the Commanders. And then going to be Julian Love, going to get my last vote. Ryan Neal was really in consideration here. Some other guys as well. Jaquan Brisker has played very well. But it's going to go to Julian Love here, though. He's also been very good for the Giants this year. Arguably their best defensive player, to be honest. And that's considering they have guys back, on that defense like KT and Azeez Ojulari. So, yeah, he's been... And Dexter Lawrence. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I'll say he's second best because Dexter Lawrence has been fantastic this year. Moving on to free safeties. This year, the best free safety has been a rookie, Kyle Hamilton. He's really good. That's kind of what I thought of him coming out of the draft. He's really good, and he's played really good, and I gotta find him first. But there he is. I didn't like that they were playing him at free safety because to me he's a strong safety, but God, he's gotten used to it, and he's just played so good for the Ravens this year, and I'm so happy because he was my favorite player this year's class. I have a video of him actually, talking to me. So Kyle Hamilton, love him. He's played fantastic for the Ravens here his rookie year. After getting picked on a little bit at the start, just been shut down. Minka Fitzpatrick, not continuing that hot start he had to the season, but God, that start of the season he had was hot. Um, that's not like he's been bad since then, though. He's still been very, very good for the Steelers here without TJ Watt. And then Javon Holland, another one of my favorite players out of the past few drafts. And yeah, he's really turned into one of the premier safeties in the league. He's played very good here for the Dolphins. As for the NFC, Antoine Winfield is going to get my vote for top safety. He's been good. He's just good for him. He has been for a few years now, and he's continuing that, unless he's not eligible, which would there is right there. I'm blind. Um, yeah, he's been good for him. He's great, great safety. Um, Kirby Joseph, another rookie that's going to end up making it here for me, but another rookie that's just played at a high level. These guys are coming out and they're just playing really good for these teams. They're taking over the league, and it's guys like Kirby Joseph that just step in and they just make an impact day one. Um, and then the last pick, again, going to be sort of a weird pick here, but Malik Hooker might be having his best year of his career as a Cowboy here. Dan Quinn really knows how to use him, apparently. He's been great back there for them. He's just been great. So probably having his best year of his career. That's going to round out the defense. Moving on to the special teams, are going to move along here a bit quicker. You know what rhymes with quicker? Kicker. And the top kickers this year to me, Justin Tucker, still going to take that number one spot. Carlson, he missed a few, had a couple off weeks there, but, just he's made a lot of field goals. He's been good this year for them, like always. And then Tyler Bass, kind of just comes off still as one of the top kickers, especially since guys like McManus hasn't been very good. Folks missed a fair amount of field goals this year. As for the NFC, top three guys to me, Pinheiro had a very good year for the Panthers. Gano and Myers still probably the best kicker in the NFC right now. And then as for the punters, top punter pick this year, gonna go to Hecker. Still the best punter in the NFL. Rams cut him as a casualty on long snappers. Rams cut him as a cap casualty, and the Panthers have sure been glad to pick him up because he's been very good for them this year. Tress Way and Ryan Wright going to take the other two spots here for punter. Again, they've just been very good. As for the AFC, Stonehouse probably going to take the title of best punter once Hecker starts to decline because he's come out his rookie year, and punters kind of go off and on, but he's been very good here for the Titans in his rookie year. Johnston also been good. He gets a lot of opportunities, but he makes the most of them. And then going to be down here, but Logan Cook has been great for the for the Jaguars. He doesn't have quite the numbers, but he's consistent. That is one thing you cannot say that he's not consistent. He's very consistent for the Jaguars. He's consistently good. So, I think he's going to take that final spot here for the punters. Long snappers, right? So you want to talk about the guys giving it to the punters. We're just going to pick the guys of, the teams we just went with. So that's going to be Cox for Stonehouse. That's going to be Weeks for Johnston. It's going to be Matiskik, I think is how you say it. Where's he at? Matiskik. There you go for the Jaguars. And then for the NFC, Jansen, right? Hecker's long snapper. Cheeseman for the Commanders. And then DePola. Oh, what's going on? Can't click him. Oh. Hope it Oh, where are we at? Hold up, what's going on? I didn't say I was done. Thanks very much. Anyways, back at it. Jansen, Cheeseman, and then DePola for Ryan Wright. Moving on to the return specialists. So for me in the AFC, Marcus Jones probably going to take the top title for AFC returners. Um, Steven Sims for the Steelers is going to get a vote here for me. Devin Duvernay. Again, I have these written down. I'm looking at my list here because I've gone through these guys and like, well, what are their stats? How have they been this year? And then the NFC, though, that's really where the kick returners are at because Keen Nwangwu might be the best kick returner, punt returner, whatever in football right now. Keyshawn Nixon, very good for the Packers this year. And then, arguably one of the greatest of all time returners, the do-it-all himself, wherever he's at. Probably somewhere here at the top. Where's the man at? You know who I'm talking about. I just can't find him. Unless he's not on here, which would be weird. Yeah, I don't see Cordero Patterson, which is weird. We're on return specialist. Yeah, we're on return specialist. I don't see Cordero Patterson, which is weird. I see Avery Williams, who's in place of him. That's weird because he really should be up here. Well, I guess if Cordero Patterson's not available for return specialist and we need an NFC guy, I say Raven McLeod definitely could be it. Yeah, we're gonna go with Ray here. He's a pretty good return specialist. He's been up there for a few years now, going from the Steelers to the Niners. He's been pretty good. And then last but not least, we got our special teamers. And to me, the best special teamers this year, overall, the best special teamer in football right now, going to be EJ Speed for the Colts. There he is. Where is he at? Sorry, I gotta find him. Neil, I'm trying to remember his first name, but he's been good for the Bills this year. He's been solid for them. Stewart, gotta find him. They don't really rank these guys. It'd be nice if they at least had them in like alphabetical order or, like team name order or something. But that'd be a little too hard here for the NFL to do that. Unless he's not eligible, which he might not be. Yeah, I guess he's not. So if Stewart's not available and Neil's not available, or we found Neil? No, we found Neil. I'm going to go with Matt Slater. He's year in, year out one of the best special teamers. I felt like he was probably like 4 or 5 this year, but I'll give him the vote since I can't find... Oh, wait, no, I just found him finally. Sorry, Slater, I got to revoke your vote because it's instead going to go to Mr. Stewart, who's been good here for the Texans. And then on the NFC side of things, forgot his first name, Sam Franklin. Good here for the Panthers. Nick Bellore gonna get a vote from me, and then JT Cray. He's normally one of the better special teamers in the league, and he's good. But I would say this year I'm probably gonna lean to give my final one. Honestly, it might just go to him. Yeah, this final vote is going to go to JT Gray to round out the voting for the Pro Bowl this year. I don't think it does the actual recap here, does it? Okay, it does. You can kind of scroll through, see who I picked for the Pro Bowl this year. So these are going to be my Pro Bowl picks for 2023. Thank you guys so much for watching the whole video. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe and hit the notification bell down below. Share the content if you like. More content coming out all the time. I'll have all pro picks, award predictions, playoff predictions, mock draft, positional rankings. Basically, you name it, I'll make it. off-season stuff, predictions, whatever. Gonna submit the ballot here. Oh, I gotta log in first, but I'll log in and then submit the ballot. But go vote, guys. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I will see all you guys in the next video. Bye bye.